Hello and welcome to the December 11th, 2024 edition of ATL Prime Sports. I'm JJ Jurjevich. Joining me this evening is my co-host Larry Gardner, your PA voice of the Rome Emperors, and of course our fabulous producer Wayne Ridenauer in wonderful Memphis, Tennessee. You can catch us all at ATL Prime Sports on Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. I might have repeated myself there, but oh well, we'll get it all covered. At JJ Get You One for my ex personal, at RWY Junior for Wayne, at LG for Real Though for Larry, and at Quarter Todd for TC Todd Quarter, who is out tonight fulfilling his duties as the voice of the Clayton State Lakers as they take on the Fort Valley State University Wildcats from the SIAC. Larry, how you doing this evening, buddy?
JJ, I am doing fantastic, sir. Life is well. Getting geared up for the holiday season. Only a couple of weeks left till the big man in the red suit drops presents down from everybody. And sports is wide open. Football is wide open. Some great news on the horizon. But everything is going A-OK up here in Northwest Georgia, man. Thank you for asking. How about you, Wayne? How you doing, man?
Well, I tell you, it's not such a good time for my sports teams. The Memphis Tigers lost to Arkansas State and dropped out of the rankings. The Auburn Tigers really didn't look good against Alabama in that last game, and the Falcons really disappointed me at San Diego. So I'm going to be taking the black and heading up towards the wall. And I don't mean the wall that protects from the White Walkers. I mean the wall's a bar that's a walking distance from my house, so I won't have to drive.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. JJ, how you doing, man?
Man, I appreciate you asking. I'm doing great, doing well. Family's well. Girls are growing. But I'm not doing as well as Max Fried, though. Them Yankees are throwing out the coin. New deal with the Yankees, 8 years, $218 million. Congratulations, Max Fried. You've pitched your last pitch in an Atlanta Braves uniform. 2021 World Series champion. One of the lowest ERAs during his tenure here in an Atlanta Braves uniform. So nothing but hats off to Max Fried. But I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. What's on tap for today's show? We're going to talk about Bill Belichick. Is he the right fit for the North Carolina job? Because he was hired today, and it just came through a 5-year deal. And we'll get to those terms. I'll try and look it up as we go on with the show, but we'll talk about that. And should the portal and early signing day be moved? And then we'll preview 6 of the best football games in our Pick 6. And, of course, we'll pick those games with early Wednesday morning spreads around 10:30 a.m. per ESPNBet.com. Let's kick things off with the Bill Belichick news. Belichick, will he be a good fit for North Carolina? Wayne, we'll start with you tonight, buddy. What do you think?
Well,
Bill Belichick, 6-time Super Bowl champ, coming to Chapel Hill. He had the 500,000 page. It wasn't that long, I'm kidding. Manifesto. What do you think, Wayne?
Well, I think he's a great coach, and in the college situation, it's a little bit different than NFL. I think in NFL you do more managing than coaching, so we'll see how he does there. But I will say this: the ACC will be much more interesting next season.
Nice. That's a great point you just mentioned. He will bring a lot of interest to the Atlantic Coast Conference next year. Larry, your thoughts on the news, man, and I'm going to look up this deal.
No, man, I think it is. I'll tell you what, I football-wise, smart decision. I don't think he can deal with the nuances that is college football and what is going to be 2025. I think it is the exact reason Mac Brown had to get gone. It is the exact reason Nick Saban had to get gone. It is, as long as this X and O's is right up his alley. But it's a lot different managing 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds than it is full-grown men with families, bills, things of that nature. I think, it's going to be a media circus for about the first 4 or 5 weeks there in Chapel Hill. But I think this may be a one and done, maybe 2 at the most and done. because I don't think his patience and his temperament can handle these rowdy, rambunctious young adults. So if the goal was to bring a media circus somewhat to Chapel Hill, you have succeeded. If the goal was to bring a very knowledgeable human being to lead the North Carolina Tar Heels football team, you succeeded in that. But how is he going to be able to deal with the boosters? How is he going to deal with the NILs? How is he going to even deal with the transfer portal? I mean, free agency he can handle because he did it in the NFL, because that's basically what the transfer portal is. But can he handle what comes along with dealing with the kids as well as their parents and recruiting and things of that nature? So I'm looking forward to see what it ends up being. But if you wanted to bring attention to the program, you absolutely did that with flying colors.
Yeah, I like all those points. Technically they did go a year younger than Mac Brown from 73 to 72. Got a little bit more youthful at the head coaching position. No, I'm just kidding. But you mentioned it all. 6-time Super Bowl champion. He finalized the deal with UNC. Right as we went on air, I saw it's a 5-year deal. I haven't seen any financial numbers yet, but I have seen the 5-year deals pretty official from ESPN and CBS. Look, he's worked in some capacity in the NFL since 1975. I mean, he's an ancient coach. I mean, he left in 23. His father did was an assistant coach at UNC in the 50s. So maybe he wanted to go back. His father talked about Chapel Hill being a good place or something. He will be the oldest FBS coach. Iowa's coach, Kurt Ferentz, will be second in that category at 69. So he'll be the oldest head coach. And look, you nailed it on the head, Larry. Lots of football mind, lots of football IQ. I think he will be able to recruit for a short period of time. I personally think the PR is always good when there's no such thing as bad press in terms of football coverage when it's like this, when it's good. So this is fairly good for the program. Look, he said he really looked into NIL, and he's been talking to his college, colleagues and people he's worked with. His son is at Washington, so he has that connection there, and many people think he'll bring him over to UNC is the rumor. So we'll see. I think he can surround himself with some really good people, stick to coaching, and hopefully he can find some good recruiters and keep this around. Maybe even keep Mac Brown around because he knows the program so well in some facet. So this is a really interesting move to me, guys. Again, lots of football knowledge. Coached the greatest quarterback of all time. So that's going to bring turn some heads, at least I think, in recruiting. So we'll see if this negatively or positively impacts North Carolina. But look, I think you can only go up from here. Mac Brown kind of reached his plateau, and I'm anxious to see what this brings. Regardless if it's a PR stunt or whatever, it's going to draw some eyes. Larry, we'll go back and forth. Any other comments and thoughts on Bill Belichick in North Carolina? Wayne, you two jump in if you got to.
No, I don't think. I mean, other than what I've already stated, what I'm curious to see the most is what scheme he brings to the Carolina football team. Will it be pro style, similar to what he ran with the Patriots or all of those many millennia, it feels like, because he was there for so long? What type of quarterback is he going to look to recruit there? He's already got some people in places. Is he going to want to keep the same people around? Or is he going to kind of pull a Deion Sanders and educate or encourage them to hit the portal? I'm curious to see how he goes about the day-to-day nuances of what it is to. Because it's really what Wayne said. It's really managing in college more so than it is in coaching. Because in the NFL, you got everybody's responsible, and you've got grown men that are responsible for certain things. But I'm just eager to see how he goes about the day-to-day nuances of being a college head football coach.
Yeah, wasn't there a short time when Arthur Smith was mentioned as possible head coach at UNC?
Yes, he
And
was he
and
was
now and
interviewed as
and
well.
now and now I'm wondering, could he still possibly go to UNC as some sort of defensive coordinator?
Or offensive coordinator.
Yeah, yeah,
Who
that's right.
knows?
I
The
mean, it's
Steelers are doing great though, so
yeah,
I think
Yeah.
he's safe in the NFL. But I think another interesting aspect of this is going to be just you mentioned it, Larry. Every day, how he handles everyday scenarios, going into mom and dad's houses, selling the program as a 72-year-old coach. Mac Brown, I'm sure, had his difficulties with that as well at the end of his tenure there. So it's going to be interesting, but I think his experience with NFL free agency and drafting these kids out of college, so he does have that experience. He did draft a lot of players out of college, so I'm thinking he's going to figure out how to run a program. I think he's going to get the right people around him, and like I said, we'll see if it positively or negatively affects North Carolina at Chapel Hill. But we all agree it's sure the hell is an interesting hire.
yeah. Well, hey, are you? Is there any rules regarding recruiting that says you can't bring celebrities along on the recruiting trips?
With how wild recruiting is now, I don't know the answer to that
Yeah,
question.
I can see it now. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Georgievich, this is I'm here to try to get your son to play football for us. Have you met my friend Tom Brady?
Well, that would probably be okay. I
Well,
mean,
I
honestly,
don't know.
he could probably do that.
That'd be
I
weird.
mean, I don't see how that would be illegal if Tom Brady just so happened to be in North Carolina that
He was
day.
he was on a ride along. That's all.
Oh, he just came by to stop by the office. It's Tom Brady. Yeah, no, it wouldn't surprise me. What is it, 7-time Super Bowl champion?
Yeah.
Lost count how many.
I I
Yeah,
I, I
folks.
I'm only aware of one Super Bowl that he won, and I'm not supposed to be talking about that.
That is
Now,
too
I wonder how the
funny.
people in Michigan would take to that, him being in North Carolina.
Very interesting, isn't it? Another intriguing aspect, guys, if you don't mind me going on real quick, is what did that say about his NFL career at the? No one. It kind of shows me. I think that he was done in the NFL. I don't know if anybody was going to hire him. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting that he wasn't even being interviewed or thought after at some of these coaching jobs that are coming open right now. So I'm very intrigued at that aspect of this as well, and more information will come out on that as well, I'm certain. But look, overall, look, football knowledge you can't take away from it. We'll see what happens in the near future. All right, guys, let's move forward. We'll do another quick college football topic before we get into our pick six opinion. We like college football here a lot. Should the transfer portal and early signing day be moved back to after the college football playoff, before the college football playoff, where it is, or should they just move it after? Where should they put it, guys? Larry, I'll let you start this one off.
Yeah, man, I think it should go back to what it was originally is and be the one signing day, and then you get a dual time for the portal to be open. You get it immediately after the college football playoff championship has been played, and then you get it about what I call maybe even a 6 to 8 week window after the end of the semester when summer gets ready to start. I think you should I think the portal should be open on those two places, and I think that you should have just one signing day. And the reason being is because with two different signing days, especially now with the playoff being the way it is, what you end up doing now is you go into this huge recruiting frenzy, and then you have to turn around and get your team prepared to play in the bowl season with these multiple playoff games. And you have to continue to recruit during this whole place because now you've already done one signing day. There may be some players out there that you still think that are on the fence or maybe deciding to sign with your program. So now you got to continue to do that. The championship game it used to be I think it's like the last week of January, first week of February. So if that's the case of where the college football playoff championship thing is, I don't know the date off the top of my head, but Now you do that, you finish, you only have a week to two before the next signing day. So it's like this from the 1st of December to like the first Wednesday in February, it is complete chaos from trying to manage portal entry and exits, recruiting days, managing your team to get them prepared to play football. And it is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, like a 8-week scenario of a whole 12-month season with dual signing days. I think they should just go to the same way as always was, the first Wednesday in February, 2 portal entry and exit dates, and I think that will help calm some of this stuff down so that you don't feel like your head's twisted all above like a doggone slinky trying to manage all of this recruiting stuff.
Yeah, the national championship this year is Monday, January 20th, obviously right here in Atlanta, Georgia. I want to move it as well. I think right now, I like the early signing day though, but I do think it should be after the college football playoff national championship, or maybe at least the first round of bowl games, so you can calm down, get ready for that first bowl game, and like you said, kind of space out the craziness of that 8-week period. The way it currently is, you have a 30-day portal window, which opened up Monday, December 9th. It will close December 28th. That's the fall window. The spring window is April 15th to the 25th. I would keep those portal windows pretty close, but I would move the first one to, again, after the college football playoffs. So that way there's no distractions trying to recruit on your team. And I'll use Nitro Tuggle, a wide receiver at Georgia. Entered the portal. Kirby Smart recruited him and brought him right on back into Georgia, and he's recommitted to Georgia. So, Kirby had to go boop, boop, and right back on track, and kind of piggyback what Larry was saying. That's what coaches have to juggle with in this tumultuous 8-week period where you have the opening date, the closing date, getting ready for a championship possibly, and getting ready for a college football playoff run all in the same time while recruiting and signing a class. It's unbelievable chaos. It is definitely something to be looked at moving forward with these extended seasons, and maybe some sanity for these coaches. I'm sure it's just absolutely mind-numbing going through this.
Well, you must have been hanging out in the SIP with I forget his name now.
Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, because he had the same complaints. I really think that what's going to end up happening, and this is my moment of prediction, I really think they're going to go back to the 1 year sitting out on all transfers. And when they do that, they'll realize they only need one portal season transfer time, and that will be the April one.
That's an interesting point. I think I like playing right away. But I personally think if you play right away, they should put some academic calendar in it. So you have to enter in that first window and start playing by spring. I think that would help a lot. I just think this opening and closing, and then if your coach leaves, remember that opens up a 4 or 5 day window where you're allowed to leave as well. So it just gets crazier and crazier as coaches get fired too, and that adds fuel to the fire. So it's crazy, but I think we all agree. Push everything back. I'm one of the few, it sounds like, that likes the double signing day. I think you can get a lot of your class out of the way and get ready for spring. But I think we all respect each other's opinion, and I don't see anything wrong with anything said tonight. I think we all want to see the game improve and see this time. Right now, where college football, you coaches and players, you would want them to really focus on gameplay and getting healthy and getting ready for this first 12-team playoff run. Guys, any final thoughts on this, Wayne or Larry?
No.
Move on from here to the pick six. Go ahead, Larry.
No, you're good. I think the biggest thing with me for doing this is because I'm so involved with high school sports and seeing the direct effect that the transfer portal has on high school recruiting, because you have kids that would ordinarily back in years past would be easily get offered that now may not even receive an offer or even get looked at until after February because of A, transfer portal rules, and B, the dual signing days. I think it is, especially here in the South where it's so much of a business down here where all this money is being exchanged due to NIL. I hate to see the effect that it's having on high school recruits. I mean, your 5-stars don't get recruited regardless, but where it affects is your 3 or 4s that could be teetering on getting a big-time FBS or even an FCS offer that may not because of everybody waiting for the transfer portal to shake its way through. So that's one of the things that, I tend to say, man, I hate it for the high school kids that grind and work so hard trying to put themselves in a position to get looked at or get noticed. When you got the portal there, it's like, do I want to take a kid that's already got some college level experience who knows how to deal with the lifestyle, or am I going to bring a high school kid that has no idea what it's like to be a college athlete yet?
It's a great point, and it's another good point to bring up to piggyback off yours, Larry. And a lot of this, some of it, not a lot of it, but some of it, a good chunk, I should say, about 30-40%. In about 2 years' time, about a year and a half time, where I'm 25 now, basically, all the COVID eligibility is going to be up. So you still have a couple players left with COVID eligibility. Technically, Carson Beck's a senior, but he could come back for one more year of eligibility because he enrolled by 2020, so he has a free year of eligibility. So, there's a bunch of craziness still going on with that COVID eligibility year, which is also backfiring into the high school community as well. My little cousin was trying to play college softball, and the school she had a offer to said they couldn't pay for her education till after sophomore year when all the recruits were out with the COVID eligibility. So it's definitely something to look at. And like I said, I would love to be a fly in the wall with the microphone to hear what they have to say about this moving forward, because I think we all agree it's got to change simply because it's too chaotic right now for anyone to keep up with.
Yeah, if you get that fly on the wall job, JJ, bring you a little recorder so we can get some inside information for the show.
Will do. All right, guys. We'll go from more college football to arguably the greatest college football game in the land, the Army-Navy game. We're previewing that in the Pick 6. We picked 6 of the best football games from college and pro. Again, spreads are from Wednesday per ESPNBet.com. We'll go over the records real quick. Wayne, 2-4 last week, dropping you to 48-41-1. Larry, another smoking hot week at 4-2. 54-35-1 on the season for Larry. TC is 50-39-1 after a 5-1 week for himself last week. And I went 2-4 and am again coming in the rear this year, not having a great year. 5 games below 500 at 42-47-1.
So that puts you and I in the bottom then, right?
Yeah, you're quite a bit ahead of me. You're 6 games ahead of me.
Yeah, but well, it was still in the bottom there, so.
I got there's about 6 feet of ish, and then I'm right there.
Well,
well,
right.
Let's have some fun. Go ahead, Wayne. What were you saying?
Oh, nothing. I just wanted to mention that because I don't, I always start out strong, and then as the season goes, I start dropping, and I think it's because I've been a Ranger fan for such a long time.
That's a good one. Well, we are picking 6 of the best football games, the best college football game of the weekend. You do get the Celebration Bowl, and you do get South Alabama versus Western Michigan, I believe, in the Veterans Bowl. So tune into those. The Celebration Bowl right here in Atlanta, Georgia. South Carolina State, I believe, and Jackson State. Should be a pretty good game there. Navy, 8-3 versus number 22 Army, 11-1. Army is a 6.5-point favorite. Over under in this one is 38.5. Saturday, 3:00 p.m. on CBS in Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland. The 125th edition of the Army-Navy game. Larry, who you got?
going with Army to win, but Navy will cover the spread. I've watched this game. We all watch this game every
Yeah.
year, and I can't even remember. And I was trying to go through, and I didn't even get a chance to jot them down. But I can't even remember the last time that this was an actual blowout game. This game is usually within a 10-point range, one way or the other. Usually, Army is played, the thing about it this year, both of them were undefeated to like week 8.
Yeah.
So both of these teams are really, really good. They're very competitive. The running game is what drives them both, but I think the loss to Notre Dame, as well as the college football playoff snubbing that Army got, is going to drive them to win this football game. But I do think Navy will make it competitive. I think Army wins, I'd say by 4. So I'm going with Navy in the points, but I think Army wins the football game.
I like it, Larry. It's the last time it was a blowout. Todd and I had this conversation off air today. It was 2019. It was like 31-7 or something like that. But yeah, normally it's a close ball game. Wayne, what say you?
Well, there's 2 reasons why I'm going to have to go with Navy on this one. My dad is retired Navy, and we lived on Navy bases growing up my whole life. And Navy is in the same conference as Memphis, so I've got to, stick with the loyalty there.
Well, this series is at 55 wins for the West Point Army. West Point there, 55 wins for Army, 62 losses and 7 ties. Guys, Navy can throw the football a little bit better. Just about 40 yards better a game. Navy's quarterback, Blythe Harwath, again, he's pretty good throwing the football. I think he's got about 11 or 12 touchdowns, and he's got a really good quarterback rating. They throw it more than any Navy team has done. And again, they do it a little bit better than Army's quarterback, Bryson Daly, just around 83 yards a game. Both of these teams lost to Notre Dame in similar fashion, so I tried to get a read from that Notre Dame game on a common opponent at the independent or Power 5 level in that aspect. But they both lost 49-14, and Navy lost 51-14. So you didn't get anything from that game. So I'm with you. I think Army wins this game by about a field goal. I'm gonna take Navy in the points, and the Commander-in-Chief trophy is on the line. Both of these teams beat Air Force, so the winner gets to hoist a trophy in this one. I'm going with the Navy midshipmen. I think the midshipmen are on a couple-game losing streak. Midshipmen get them. TC is going with the midshipmen as well in the points, so we're all going Navy there. I can't lose any more games on that one. Can't fall any farther behind on you guys there. All right, we're going all 5 NFL games from here. The Rams, 7-6, travel to San Francisco to take on the 6-7 49ers. San Francisco is a 2.5-point home favorite. The total on that one's 49.5. It is Thursday night football, 8:15 on Amazon Prime. 2 top 10 passing attacks in the NFL, so this one could be a shootout. Rams have won 3 of 4. I like Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua starting to play extremely well. They're running the football effectively. Stafford's taking care of the football. They're getting some pressure on the quarterback. And McVay's a heck of a coach and a Marist grad. I'm taking the Rams and the points in this one. And this was a tough game for me to pick. I think San Fran, their new gadget running back, Guerrero, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that real quick. But he had a heck of a week last week coming in substitution for the injured Mason and McCaffrey. So I'm anxious to see how Shanahan keeps that offense going. Purdy is healthy, and we'll see if they can make a playoff run. But I'm taking the Rams and the points. This could be a 1-point ball game, and the Rams could win it outright. But I think the safe bet's Rams and the points. Larry, what say you?
I like your analysis. The only thing I don't like, the fact is this is a division game, and there is still a lot on the line for both these teams. And I think Kyle Shanahan had something to prove. This team has been decimated with injuries all season long. But the one fact and element that I did like that I saw last week was Shanahan was able to get George Kittle back into the football game again. And he looked like an NFL All-Pro tight end. And usually, as Kittle goes, so does the 49ers go. Even with McCaffrey being out, with Mason being out, with whatever Rado, the running back that's now the third string running back, he had himself a well of a game, as you did say. The thing is that I'm hesitant because I haven't seen Debo play Debo ball yet, here in the last few weeks. But I think there's enough within the drive of Purdy and Kittle, not to mention what's going on the defensive side of the football, that San Francisco wins this football game and they're able to handle business with it being at Santa Clara and at the Levi, at what we call it, the Gene Stadium. Give me San Francisco, baby. I think San Francisco's going to be able to take care of business and cover the point spread there too.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting ball game, Larry. We're on the same note there. It's really a coin flip. I mean, this is nearly a pick 'em if you ask me. A 2.5-point spread's nearly a pick 'em. So we're on the same page. I literally went with the hotter quarterback, but it wouldn't surprise me if Shanahan surprised me. Wayne, what you got?
Well, neither one of these teams is a particular favorite of mine. And so the only way that I've got to choose is my wife's cousin's husband, Elijah, is a 49ers fan. So I'm going with the Niners.
49ers to cover. Todd is taking my side and going with the Rams and the points. So the house is divided evenly there. Our third game of the Pick Six. In my opinion, it's the best game of the weekend besides the obvious Bills and Lions. But I think this is two teams that are one's fighting for playoff life basically the rest of the season with the healthy Tua. The Dolphins come in at 6-7. The Texans host them at 8-5. Houston's a 3-point home favorite. The total in that one over under is 46 and a hook. Sunday, 1 p.m. on CBS. Miami has won 4 of their last 5. Tua has thrown for 15 touchdowns and only 1 pick since coming back from his concussion. And he's thrown for 317 plus yards in 3 straight games. Threw for 350 nearly in one of the games. So he is hot. So is this offense from Coach McDaniel. Give me the Dolphins. Give me those points on the road. I just think Tua is playing at a high level right now. Wayne, what say you?
Well, that ain't enough points for me. I'm taking the Texans, just a home team, and I think they've got it a little bit more together than the Dolphins do right now.
Larry, what you got?
I'm going with you, JJ, man. I'm going with the Dolphins, and I'm going the reason being is because C.J. Stroud has been a little bit uncomfortable in the pocket over his last few games. And if Joe Mixon hadn't been Superman over the last 4 games, their record would be a whole lot worse than what it looks like now. And Joe Mixon is the key to what Houston loves to do, running the football. And C.J. has made him even a weapon throwing the football as well, and with some of the injuries that they've had, the defense is still top-notch. All the bad publa that came with the whole hit with Trevor Lawrence, and what Will Anderson Jr. has been able to do defensively. Houston's a good football team, but JJ, you said it. Tua has been on fire here lately. Tyreek Hill is getting more motivated. He's getting more engaged in the offense. The former Falcon tight end, Jonnu Smith, who came up huge last week in overtime with a big clutch catch to give them some momentum there in overtime. Not to mention, and the X factor for Miami, they think it's Tua. But it's a shame the running back, man. He has been I'm talking about absolutely vertically challenged when it comes to being a throwing weapon for Tua Tagovailoa. I had to get it right because I want to say it right. But he's been a great weapon for him, not only running the football, but being a catcher out of the backfield as well. So, JJ, I like you. I like where you're going. Give me the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are going to handle business. 5 points ain't really that big of a deal when you're talking about NFL games and how close they've been. But the Dolphins, I think, have turned the corner since Tua's came back from injury, and they are a totally different team when he's behind center than when he's on the sideline.
Absolutely. Offense looks absolutely atrocious without Tua under center. Both house divided yet again. TC has taken Houston as well, a home favorite of 3. Larry, you and I are getting 3 points, man. I think they can at least lose this game by 2 points, and we're safe there. Now, this is arguably the game of the year. Bills 10-3 travel to Detroit to take on the Lions at 12-1. Detroit's 2.5-point home favorites. Total on this one, the biggest of the day, 53 and a hook. 4:25 p.m. on CBS. Larry, why don't you start this one off, buddy?
Y'all think this is a hard game to pick? This is easy for me to pick. I literally just watched a man throw for almost 400 yards and 6 touchdowns and lose last week. That's all I needed to see. Detroit is the best, well-rounded football team in the league for a reason, and they're playing at home. Dan Campbell plays and coaches like it's literally a video game. He doesn't believe in punting on 4th downs. He's got 2 of the best running backs in the business, being able to keep the load real easy for Jared Goff. He doesn't have to do much. Amon St. Brown is one of the best receivers in the league. The defense has kicked it up a notch since the injury to Aiden Hutchinson. Give me the Lions to do what they need to do. They're going to handle business, they're going to win, and they're going to further cement themselves as the best team in the NFL.
Wayne, what say you?
Well, the Lions play inside, and I think that's going to be a factor. I don't think the Bills are used to playing inside. That's really the only difference I can think of right now, except for the fact that apparently the Lions can score a whole lot and add up a bunch of yards. So I'm taking the Lions at home.
TC's taking the Lions this year. Man, baby, it's cold outside. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills because no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Larry, you mentioned it. 6 touchdowns last week for Josh Allen, 3 on the ground, 3 in the air, 44-42 loss in a losing effort versus the Rams, who just outdueled them. And look, this is a heck of a game. This could be a Super Bowl preview even. Goff, 25 TDs versus Allen's 23. Good for 5th and 6th in the NFL. Number 1 offense, number 2 offense in the NFL, but also 2 top 10 defenses. So don't be surprised if the under hits on this bad boy. It wouldn't surprise me because these are 2 pretty good defenses as well. And I think they're going to make each other one-dimensional. I think it's going to be a last possession type ball game. And I like Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. No doubt about it. He's really cleaned up his turnover act, and he's got a good run game with James Cook to balance out the offense and not have to rely on the big play from Stephon Diggs all the time and force it to him. So I think Josh Allen's found a better way to play football, and that's 4:25 p.m. on CBS. So, yeah, I'm taking the Bills. I'm the only one doing that. Hopefully, this gets me going in the right direction. We will see. Again, everybody else going Lions to cover. Our 5th game of the evening, Steelers-Eagles. Steelers 10-3, Eagles 11-2. Phillies 5-point home favorites in this one. Over-under is 42 and a hook. 4:25 p.m. on Fox. This game will be dueling with the Bills-Lions game. Steelers are top 10 offensively and defensively, but so are the Eagles. The Eagles are 8th in scoring offense, 2nd in scoring defense. Man, this one's really tough, but I went with the Eagles to cover. I just think they're one of the best teams, if not the 2nd best team in the NFC behind the Lions. I think they're going to prove it against the Steelers, who have benefited from a really good defense. Again, pretty good offense. They're scoring with Russell Wilson, but I just think the Eagles at home, it's a different advantage. Home field advantage wins. I think they win by a touchdown. Give me the Eagles. Wayne, what say you?
Well, again, we're going to split on this one because I'm going with the Steelers. Steelers seem to do really well on the road, and the Eagles, I think, are not quite as good as the Steelers are right now. So I'm taking the Steelers, and they're giving me points, so that's even better.
Larry, what you got?
There is big time dissension on the offensive side of the football in Philadelphia. There's been rumors about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith not being able to really get along with Jalen Hurts. And the only saving grace to them has been the performance this year of Saquon Barkley. But that being said, on the other side of the football, the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the best teams against the run. And their offense has been lights out with Russell Wilson and many, many different options, even with the cuckoo for Cocoa Puff, George Pickens. My man Mike Tomlin is, if he could ever get a few Super Bowls, he would arguably be the best football coach ever because he's never had a losing season. Give me Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's going to cover this easily. They're going to make it easy breezy. I even think they could outright win this football game. I got to see Jalen Hurts get on the same page with his receivers. I just got to see it. The last couple of games that they've had when I'm watching Philadelphia, it's like they go a couple of series where they go 3 and out. Jalen not even talking to the receivers. You know, AJ and Devontae on the sideline looking at each other fussing. It's just Saquon Barkley is the engine that pushes the train that makes the Eagles go. If Pittsburgh can stop Saquon, they win this football game, and they win it easily. Give me Pittsburgh, baby.
I like it. Look, the Eagles are 5-1 at home, and who beat them?
I do remember that one.
The Atlanta Falcons did. I can't believe that still to this day. That's unbelievable, isn't it? You're right, Wayne. The Steelers do play good on the road. They're 5-2 on the road. But again, I'm going with Eagles. I think Saquon Barkley is too tough to stop. And I just think this crowd in Philadelphia will get inside of Russell Wilson's head a little bit, maybe get inside George Pickens' head. He'll start fighting somebody in the back of the end zone or something, and maybe cause a 15-yard penalty that's huge in this game. Well, I mentioned the Falcons. Well, we pick them on this show. 4 straight losers. They're 6-7. Somehow they had a 4-game lead 4 weeks ago, and they've dropped it in consecutive weeks. They're 6-7 on the road to Las Vegas, who's 2-11, eliminated from playoff contention. Falcons are 5-point road favorites. Over/under in this one is 44 and a hook. Monday, 8:30 p.m. on ESPN. Again, Monday Night Football. Guys, what say you? Wayne, are you taking the Falcons? Are you still doing it?
Listen, there was a moment when I saw what we were picking where I was like, do I play the game or do I maintain loyalty to the Falcons? And a good friend of mine that lives down in the Midtown area of Memphis told me, always choose loyalty over the game. So I'm taking the Falcons.
I absolutely love it. Well, Wayne, I'm joining you, but not because of loyalty, because the Falcons are due, and the Raiders stink. They flat out suck. They're one of the worst defenses I've seen in a long time. Falcons have lost 4 in a row. Kirk Cousins hasn't thrown a TD pass since November 3rd versus Dallas. But hopefully Kirk Cousins can get right versus the second worst scoring defense in the NFL. And believe it or not, Kirk Cousins is 3rd in passing yardage in the NFL with 3,396 yards. So I'm taking the Falcons to cover by a touchdown. These big spreads are scary, but sometimes you just got to go with them. Taking the Falcons to cover. Larry, what you got?
I'm going with the just win baby Raiders. Desmond Ridder is going to get his get back. And I'm going to tell you.
He might.
It is going to be the Desmond Ridder and Brock Bowers show against the Falcons defense. I have seen the worst secondary when it comes to corners in the history of mankind last week against the Minnesota Vikings, and I knew it was coming. But to see a defensive back who can't even locate the football, there are bigger issues here than what the mainstream media wants to let on when it comes to the Falcons. That reason and that reason alone, Falcons might win this football game. but I think it's going to be a field goal win if they do. I'm going with the Raiders.
I like it. I think it was really tough for me, but the Raiders are they're just bad. They're in a bad spot right now. They're trying to find a quarterback. O'Connell's hurt. It's been a tough season for Coach Pierce. I'm just hoping the Falcons can take advantage of a weaker schedule down the stretch and secure that goal that the Falcons had at the beginning of the season of hosting a home playoff game. If they don't win this game, folks, you can almost wrap up the playoff hopes because I think the Bucs might upset the Chargers this weekend, and that'll make things extremely difficult on the Atlanta Falcons. Folks, that wraps up our Pick 6. Let's take a moment for our final thought. Wayne, go ahead and start us off, buddy.
Well, this goes back to one of our Pick 6, that Steelers-Eagles game. I really think that they're not taking advantage of Gainwell enough on the Eagles, and I think if they did that, it would give them a better chance, especially given the fact that they're apparently in some sort of offensive conundrum.
I like it. Gainwell's a good change of pace back. You do want to protect Barkley for the playoffs. Not a bad final thought. Larry, what say you?
Kudos to Alex Anthopoulos for not falling into the okie doke trap of paying $215 million for a pitcher that has not pitched 15 to 20 games in a few years at this point. Yankees, y'all can have him. Hope he does well. Max Fried did so much for the Atlanta Braves franchise. He held it together when it was coming apart at the seams. He was on the mound when we won our last world title. I wish him well. But let me tell y'all something. If you got kids and you really want them to have aspirations, please teach them to hit a baseball. That's all I want you to do. To teach them to hit a baseball. Shohei, dang near $1 billion contract. Juan Soto, $700 million. Max Fried, $200 million. Please, if you don't do nothing else, don't let them go get CTE and get hit with football just because we love it so much. Teach them to hit the dadgum cover off the baseball, and I tell you, you will be a rich, rich family for years to come.
Boy, I agree with that sentiment wholeheartedly. I think the Yankees overpaid for a good pitcher, but time will tell. Folks, my final thought, Ohio State Representative Josh Williams introduced the OHIO Sportsmanship Act on Tuesday. If the act passes, it would make planting a flag in the center of specifically Ohio Stadium a felony offense. This is by far the stupidest thing I have ever heard in my entire life. You're going to make a kid's life completely different for the rest of it for planting a flag on a rival's field in a game in which they won. Do you hear the craziness that is coming out of the adult's mouth in the room? What are we doing? Like Baker Mayfield said, let the boys play. Ohio State, you should have won the game on the field. You should have turned your back, and when you saw it going, let them plant the flag, maybe say a word or two, and get off the field. Because you had 60 minutes to fight and moan and scrap and claw and do whatever you had to do. But making a simple gesture of planting a flag on a rival logo, a felony, is absolutely bleeping crazy. I almost did it. One day I'm going to drop up and say an F-bomb on this show, but that is absolutely crazy. I just say one more time. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Josh Williams, don't you have something better to do with our taxpayer dollars than try and make a kid a felon for planting a flag at midfield? On field turf, it didn't even go in. Who cares that much? Sorry, I went on a long rant, folks. If you like the content, please like, please subscribe. We do this for free. We do this for fun, and we do it as a hobby. We just enjoy talking with you all. Again, at ATL Prime ATL Prime Sports across the board, YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook, and of course Apple, Spotify. For Larry in Adairsville, Wayne in Memphis, Todd down there in Morrow, Georgia, calling the game right now. Hopefully the Lake Show got it done. I'm JJ Jurjevich right here in Lilburn, Georgia. We'll see you next week. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Get you one.